Hey guys, angry guy here, and I just want to give a shout out to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Today we are talking about how Kanye West will become president in 2024. And more or less, I'm going to be explaining specifically how this is going to happen. All right? So, a few fun facts about Kanye West. He's running for president in 2024, and he recited color psychology to wife Kim Kardashian West as she sat in a morning bath Thursday, and he was fired at 16 for shoplifting at the Gap where he worked. So West, with Kim in tow, let loose with those pearls and more during a surprise 35-minute appearance before a crowd of 500 at a Fast Company Innovation Festival. He said he plans to make his manufacturing there, and then he also went on to say that when I run for president in 2024, we would have created so many jobs that I'm not going to run, I'm going to walk, he said. And he's serious, and people did not, here's the irony. When he said that, people didn't believe, like, people were like, huh? And he said, when I run, and he repeated himself. I actually saw the clip. Now, this is interesting because don't forget Kanye had talked about running for president previously. I could have sworn he said he was going to like run in 2020, and that obviously it hasn't happened. Like he ended up supporting Trump, I guess. So he's talked about running for president before I believe. So that has happened. But why I'm predicting Kanye is going to be the next president of the United States is for a number of reasons. And a lot of people aren't really factoring this. Not only am I predicting that Kanye West will run for president not only will he run, and not only am I predicting he will win, but I'm also predicting that the person he will be running against will likely be none other than Mark Zuckerberg. Okay? So old Zucker is likely going to try to reform his image between now and then. That's another story. But I do think I think Zuckerberg's going to make a run for president still at that point. But what's going to happen in 2024 is Kanye West represents a new generation. He represents a new generation for the United States. In terms of generation, we're talking about age demographic. Every president going back up until George Herbert Walker Bush has been a baby boomer. I was thinking about it today. Every single one of them has been a baby boomer, going back to 1992 when Bill Clinton became president, and then he became the first baby boomer president going in, and then after that, it's up and up and up. Even Donald Trump is a baby boomer. So if you think about this carefully, so Bill Clinton, and then George Bush, and then Barack Obama, and now Trump. That's four presidents who each served a total of 8 years. Okay, and think about this. All right, Trump hasn't served 8 years yet, but you know what I mean. Point is, that's four presidents, and they are and these presidents are all boomers. Okay, so we've had many generations of boomers in the White House. Okay, many generations, and guess what? That's like almost 30 years of boomers in the White House. So Kanye West is going to represent a shift in generations where it's going to be a shift away from those politics, away from those ideas and concepts that the boomer generation represents. Essentially, this whole thing, Kanye West is going to be voted in by boomers who are fed up with the boomers, and by millennials, and other generations. All right. His wife, Kim Kardashian, this is where things get really interesting, is now studying to be a lawyer, for those of you that don't remember. And when you really factor all of this together, the fact that she's studying to be a lawyer, and she would presumably be a lawyer by that point, I believe. If you consider the things really carefully, friends, it's it seems very, very potentially that she not only would she make a good first lady, she could also end up being his vice president. Yeah, this is where things get insane. Kim Kardashian could technically run as his vice president. All right. So, and this would make perfect sense. I'll explain. There's a lot of women who want, they're still pushing for progressiveness, right? They still are pushing for progressiveness. Ah, hey, thanks for being Mickey's here, and Warriors here. Yeah, they're pushing for progressiveness. So think about this. How many women would go to the polls and vote to have the very first female vice president ever? Okay? It's something. It's something, isn't it? The idea of having the first female vice president, and Kim Kardashian represents an entirely different generation. She does. She is. She represents that younger generation. She doesn't. She represents She represents millennials. She also picks up generation. What do you call it? Generation X. A lot of Generation X, and she also picks up Gen Z and so forth. So when you think about that, she's going to be getting Gen Z votes. She's going to be getting Generation X votes. She's going to be getting millennial votes. It's a very interesting thing, isn't it? All right, she's going to pick up all those votes from that group of women, and also when you when you look at the boomers, a considerable amount of boomers at that point are going to be extremely fed up with other boomers, and basically, you know, say, hey, we're going to vote for these people as well. When it comes to Kanye already has a ton of rep. He has tons of rep. Look at what's happening right now with his crusade. This G with he's going on like Sunday tour right now, and Sunday tour is this thing that he's doing all over the U.S. U.S. or the world, where he's going with his gospel tour choir, and he just put out a gospel album. And he said there's another one's coming for Christmas, like hopefully. And well, that's what he said, and I believe he's going to make it happen. But the thing is that I want you guys to think about this. Right now, Kanye he met up with Joel Olston, and they partnered up, and it was. I want you to think about this carefully. If you look at the logistics, guys, maybe I do have a bit of premonition. Like, all right, guys, I've always tried to say, like, I don't believe I have any superpowers or anything, but I start piecing together the future sometimes. Okay, and it's been like that for years. Sometimes you guys will say, wow, Angry, you said exactly that. And I always said, like, if anything, it comes from the Lord Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think I might actually have the power of premonition. Okay, like literally, I think I may actually have the power of premonition, of seeing a bit into the future, and using that power, that using that very amazing power. I honestly think that it's highly probable that Kanye, will be president. Kim will drag in that series of votes. Kanye will end up winning, will end up as president. But I think it's very possible, not definitive, but possible that his biggest opponent, his biggest rival, might actually end up being Mark Zuckerberg. And now I want you to think this: how does something like that happen? Well, Kanye when he runs, because he's being very serious, undoubtedly wouldn't be running as a liberal. He'd likely be running as a Republican. Think about this carefully. He's going all over the country, and with this musician, gospeling even in prisons and everything. All right, he's going all over the country. I mean, when he runs for president, I highly think that he will be running against Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark will be running on the left. Mark will be running as a Democrat, and Mark will be running as a Democrat and claiming that he's going to change the Democratic Party and make it better, right? And Kanye's going to be running as a Republican, okay? Because that's where he's leaning right now. And yeah, Kanye is going to get voted in as president, and he's going to, like I said, he's going to get. The thing is, he's going to get a crazy amount of the votes. I mean, like he's going to get votes from people you guys. He's going to get votes from those, like those southern states. Those southern states where bad things happen, like those southern states where some people just don't go. Yeah, he's gonna get votes from those. He's gonna get votes from states where you would not expect him to get votes from. Okay, he's going to get votes from places you would never think in a million years he would get votes from. I can't. I won't. I'm just like I'm holding my words a little bit, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Wink, wink. All right. So Kanye. There's a very good chance Kanye's gonna win. I see him. And like I said, it's possible that Kim Kardashian will be his vice president. If she's not the vice president, then I think that she may end up being something like Secretary of State. But I don't think that she's just going to simply serve as first lady. She might, but I think she might end up being the first lady to, as far as I know, to expand her role beyond first lady and into a larger role, which would make much more sense. Because why would she go and study law only to sit aside as first lady when she wants to be extremely active? I think that she could also end up in the Department of Justice, running the Department of Justice, because she's been talking about prison reform. So I think that might be something. I think that's probably where she would end up running the Department of Justice. She might end up running, she may end up as the Attorney General, or running the Department of Justice, and that might be because, and she might end up reforming the entire system. And like I said, Kanye, on the other hand, Kanye is a family man now and everything. I think he's going to. I think he may end up becoming president through those means. I honestly do. I think he may end up becoming president through those means. In the very near future. But it's going to be a matter of being diligent. Mark Zuckerberg running against Kanye is something that I know a lot of people are going to say, well, who the heck would ever see that coming? But yeah, it's that I truly believe that is what is going to be coming. I do believe that Mark is going to be running against him. I think it's highly probable, and I don't think Mark will win. I think that he's going to spend. I think Mark might end up going to jail at the end of this thing, because, for example, there's no way in the world, that there's no way in the world he's going to have access to all that data from Facebook and not use it. He's going to, and they're going to they'll find out, hopefully, and if they find out, then he'll finally go to jail, and everyone's going to be so happy that he's gone to jail. And I don't know what's going to happen in terms of the money By then, like it's the we're looking at the total financial collapse when it comes to when it comes to fiat currencies. So by then, maybe like there's something where they can get rid of all that cash that he has laying around. But yeah, he might. I think he's gonna be a billionaire that goes to jail. I think Marky Mark is gonna be a billionaire that goes to jail, and Facebook is going to be broken up into like a zillion pieces. And then this is Facebook, man, that being the very first of the Silicon Valley breakups. They'll break up. They'll basically say, "Hey, YouTube, we're looking at you." Not YouTube, Google. Hey, Google, we're looking at you. Not only will do I think they'll break up. Do I think they'll break up Google, but I think they'll even break up YouTube. I know you're like, what? Yeah, I think they're not only are they going to break up company, not only are they break up corporations, they're going to break up the companies within companies. So, for example, YouTube is a company within a company, is a company within Google, right? But they're going to break up YouTube into multiple companies to create competition because right now it has mostly a stranglehold on the online markets, on the online platforms. So, for example, there's no competition because it has a complete stranglehold. Like Facebook has a complete stranglehold, and Twitter. I mean, these are platforms that have strangleholds in their respective niches. There's no other social network like Facebook that can compete. There's none, zero. Twitter is not a social network. It's a micro blogging platform. Micro blogging platform, where I mean, basically, like small blogs, and and then YouTube is a video streaming platform. But the interesting, so they're all basically monopolies in their respective areas. They're monopolies, and they're going to get broken up. And then when they get broken up, one thing that you have to look at is one thing that many people need to realize is that it's going to be a great opportunity to make a ton of money. So, for example, you have to look at their competitors and have to consider the market behavior as we're going towards crypto. There are platforms like Steemit, which is a great alternative platform to Reddit. Right, Reddit's another platform that could really fall under scrutiny and potentially end up in under some regulation, if not just outright being broken up or having to concede certain things. So if you want to benefit from like when these companies are broken up, you should basically invest in companies, especially blockchain based companies that are based that are competitors to them right now, because these are the companies that will basically benefit the most when these other companies are being broken up. They'll basically absorb bits and pieces of them, like, okay, this company will gain these assets, this company will gain this, so forth. That's usually, they have to basically give up different things. All right, and it basically creates lots and lots of competition. Now, of course, over time, like just like with the cell phone industry, mergers begin happening, and to put a few cell phone companies, and then eventually you're going to put a few social media companies once again. But the thing is, you'd still end up having a few social media companies versus one major video streaming platform, one major social network, one major blogging platform. Reddit, whatever the heck it is. I don't know. I forget the name, what they call Reddit, like, comment aggregator system or whatever, a comment system. It, it's they're all they're all they're all monopolies. They're all monopolies. That's the honest to goodness truth. And when they get broken up, there's going to be lots of tears, lots of crying, people upset, saying, why me? How could this happen to me? And let me tell you something. No one is going to feel bad for them at all. AT&T, what the heck? AT&T needs to drop CNN. Wow. Underdogs at AT&T needs to drop CNN. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I think that a lot, it could happen, but it's going to take time. Guys, by the way, don't forget, as we're entering into this massive, massive, massive global recession, we have a new course for you, making massive profit off cryptocurrency in global recession. With this course, you'll be learning how to know what cryptocurrency to invest in global recession, strategies for investing. They're going to make you rich in global recession because that's what we're in right now. Recession now, well, it's more like a global depression. Recession cryptocurrency evaluation methods to find a coin that will skyrocket. But one mistake that will prevent you from becoming a crypto millionaire, handling investment risk, and using it to make massive profit. Yes, you can. This is actually a $1,000 course, but you can pick it up for $199.99. Okay, and not only that, but you can also head over to, you can also find a ton of other amazing, great, stupendous courses on various topics in cryptocurrency, including an expat's guide to decentralized banking and off the grid living using cryptocurrency. You can basically take this course, and by the time you're done, you can take out money at virtually any ATM using crypto, and you don't need a bank account to do anything. You'll learn everything there. We have a bunch of other courses that you can choose from, including how blockchain actually works for those of you that really don't know how the damn thing works. And oh, don't forget, take profits perfectly. So make massive profits without taking massive losses. All these courses, again, are available on cryptomoney.academy. You'll find links in the description of the video if you'd like to purchase the course. And I mean, guys, we are, as I've said more than once, in the midst of a massive global economic crisis. You have to decide what you want to do, and you have to decide if you want to make it through this. But anyway, I think Kanye West is going to be the next president of the United States. I think that he's going to represent a major shift in demographic because people are looking for a major change, and it's going to represent the first generation of non-boomers. It's going to represent Generation X stepping in because both Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are technically Generation X, as far as I know. Kanye is definitely Generation X, and Kim is very close to being Generation. She's either Generation X or very close to being Gen X. So are around the cusp of Gen X millennial. So I mean, yeah, it basically represents the next generation taking over. That's what they represent. And and I'm really telling you, I believe that if you want to know, if you want to, know how, if you want to figure out how to make some more money, by the way, think about how Kanye West would make investments, like what he would believe in, what his policies would be as president, because these are going to be the things that affect the stock markets at that time. Guys, you got to plan ahead. I don't know, like I said, I think I may have I think God may have I'm getting premonitions from God because I've been doing this, like this has been happening for years, where I just like start seeing things like how and I was thinking like maybe it's just that I'm extremely perceptive, but I mean, like I'm visually seeing these things and I'm thinking like this is premonition. Like this is premonition. I never really thought about the word for it, but yeah, like glances of the future. Talk about that, man. Talk about that. That's scary. It's really scary, man. It's really, really scary. Like, what the heck what the heck? Vibe, what's going on with Mickey? Oh, Mickey says he owns some AT&T. It's doing great. Someone mentioned old Hillary. There's a lot of comments in here. Warrior. Okay, let me see here. Yeah. Okay. CNN. Yeah, guys. So what do you really think about this? Like, this is like, it's an intriguing situation to think that Kanye West could ultimately be our next president, and Kim Kardashian could be our next vice president or secretary of state, or are more than likely the leader of the Department of Justice. I mean, the next attorney general. And like I said, it would make sense that she would take that role because, for example, the Secretary of State is the nation's top diplomat, and she doesn't really have any what's the word? She doesn't have any international. She has no international experience. Like as far as we know, I mean, she could say, "Well, I've traveled around the world." It's possible, but I think that that doesn't seem to be her focus. Her focus seems to be reforming the legal system, and her legacy, to be very honest with you, could be quite profound. To imagine this, going from going from a tape, making a tape, to being, being one of the greatest, uh, you know, one of the greatest people in American history, maybe one of the most important people in American history. It's possible. And so, like, guys, think about it. It makes perfect sense. A lot of people can't see it. That's kind of the way the nation's history always works. And God has a real funny sense of humor. God has a sense of humor, guys. I'm telling you. And I could see that. I could definitely see that happening. That being her legacy. And Kanye, what I honestly, I'm going to be honest. I don't know what Kanye would do as president. I'd have to really listen to what he's saying more of today. It's hard to know what Kanye West would do as president. I don't know. Honestly though, I think that I can tell you one thing. He'll do something crazy. He'll do the most unbelievable things. He's creative. He is 100% creative. So he will come with things that no one would ever think of doing. Like, only Kanye would do this. Only Kanye would do, like, literally. He'd come with some very creative things, like literally ways of getting around issues. And I definitely think he would amend the Constitution. Like, for example, one thing is I think he would get rid of the 13th Amendment. He's talked about get rid of the 13th. And I think one of the most profound things he might do, maybe his legacy, could potentially be getting rid of the 13th Amendment, which essentially would make it illegal for slavery in the United States. Okay, it would make it illegal it basically make it illegal. And you're like, well, I thought slavery is illegal. Slavery is illegal in the United States except for under one condition: incarceration. And this is something Kanye talked about. So basically, prisoners are considered slaves. They have the same, because they don't have constitution. If you're a prisoner, you don't have constitutional rights, and you basically can be used, bought, and sold. They say that you have they say you have certain rights, but who stipulates these exact rights? Do you see what I'm saying? Because you don't have the same rights that everyone else has. You don't. Okay? You don't have the right. You don't have the right. You don't have the right to freedom of speech. You don't have the right to bear arms. Okay? You don't have the right to consume alcohol. You don't have the right to vote. You lose all of your rights. So you are essentially property of the state. Then the state can do what it wants to you based on its findings in a court of law, ordered by a jury or judge, and yada yada yada. So Kanye's legacy might be getting rid of the 13th Amendment. 13th Amendment, which would go hand in hand with the prison system. So Kim Kardashian reforming the prison system entirely, and it would create a joint legacy of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. Of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, um, like basically changing the face of, changing changing the demographic. I mean, the legal system, the structure of the legal system entirely in the United States. Again, guys, listen, guys. I'm telling you, this is a premonition. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm seeing. You know what's messed up? What's messed up is there's gonna be some of you. This ends up happening, and some of you are gonna say, "I remember when Angry talked about this, like so many years ago." We talked about this like what 5 years ago, or 10 years, like 10 or 15 years ago, you know. Because I think Kanye will get a second term. I think Kanye will get a second term. If Kim is not his running mate, like I said, I think she may end up running the Department of Justice. I would be like, whoever he chooses as his running mate would be shocking. Because I know for a fact, because Kanye, I can see Kanye doing something wild. Like, for example, like choosing for his running mate, I could see him doing something like choosing someone who's from like a foreign country, like okay, like for example, I can see it doing something like choosing Wyclef John or something like some weird technicality, or somebody from the UK. Like what the, and then like people are like, wait a minute, you can't do that, and then somehow it basically they find in the Constitution that hey, maybe you can't. Like I feel like he's gonna do something weird. He's gonna choose someone weird. He's gonna choose something weird, and a lot of people are going to like the idea of it. And if people like the idea of it, then a lot of times it ends up becoming reality. Okay, like I said, and I think he'll do something like that. It'll be exciting. It'll open up lots of like us to the world more and all kinds of stuff. It could be it'll be quite significant. His legacy will be quite incredible, and we don't know what I think it's his daughter. I think his daughter, what's which North, I think Northwest. That's her, Northwest, like the movie. I think she's gonna be like a singer or something amazing when she grows up. Kid looks, I don't know, she seems like her daddy a lot. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty intriguing, like the direction they're heading in. But that's the future that I see. That's what I'm calling a premonition, which is so cool. Like, man, and like it's it's funny. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna joke about it. Like, God lets you see this, but he was like, you see like the winning lottery numbers. To be honest, though, I would never want to win the lottery. Like, you're like, what the heck? Like, yeah, I don't. In my heart, I don't want to win the lottery. There have been times where like I felt like, what, I just want to give up on life. Fine, let me get the fuck like. But the lottery is like it's like a curse. So, yeah, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. It's always like Kanye and Flavor Flav. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be Kanye and Flavor Flav. You know what's terrible? I just said I don't think it's gonna be Flavor Flav, and then I just realized, you know what? I just said like he'll throw us all through a loop and it ends up being like Flavor Flav, and you're like, Kanye, are you for real? Are you for real, Kanye? Are you for real, Kanye? And everyone's like, this doesn't make any sense. Flavor Flav. And then, listen, hear me out. And then it ends up turning out that a lot of people, that Flavor Flav, you know, actually understands the community very well. And he actually, he ties people, he ties the boomer generation to the millennial and other generations much better than people realize. And he's actually well spoken. He's a millionaire. He talks about his story, how he rose from rag to riches and fame, and how he fell, he was up, fell back down, came back up. I'm from New York. And I mean, guys, think about it very, very carefully. The story resonates like he's a good old American boy, and America's always been about unity and being a good old boy. And you know, and oh, remember Flavor Flav from this? I'm telling you guys, this is how it ends up going. And I think Tyson's gonna end up being like a governor or something, mayor or governor, maybe mayor, but that's another story. Mike Tyson, the boxer, yeah. And but a lot of people think that, but when it comes to Flavor Flav, yeah, I think it may end up being like it literally end up just like that, and he end up become president. But like I said, I'll just give you an example. If Flavor Flav ended up being his running mate, I'm not telling you it's gonna be Flavor Flav. I'm just giving you an example of how that would end up becoming possible if such a scenario occurred. But I don't know whose running mate's gonna be. It's gonna be something. I think it'll be pretty interesting. If it's not Kim. Arbor says Kanye has been, yeah, he's up, he's upsetting MK. Yeah, it's like Kanye said he's never gonna let anyone take his opinion away. I said what? You said that recently. He said he's never gonna let anyone take his opinion away. I said what? Kanye is like, I mean, that's how he's always been. That's how he's always been. I mean, it's gonna be hilarious. This is hilarious. How do you go from like? I mean, my goodness, like he wrote songs about this. It wouldn't surprise me if Kanye has a song out there where he rapped about, like in the 90s, if he rapped, or like in the early 2000s, if he rapped about, being in the White House and running the White House with Kim Kardashian. It would not surprise me if he has a song out there like that right now, like where he's president and Kim Kardashian is with him in the Oval Office. I could literally see that. Like, yeah, like, like how the heck could such a song be out there? Like, what was this, like a premonition of the future? It's God trolling everybody. Guys, let me tell y'all something. If you want to know, like, God trolls. He does troll. God trolls. He trolls us. He has a sense of humor, and he does troll us a bit. He will troll, okay? And he'll do it in, like, think about who Kim Kardashian is and where she's coming from, you know? And, Kanye West and who he is and where he's coming from. And you really start thinking about, these are people that will resonate with a new generation of the average American. They're the Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are basically average American for a new generation. Granted, they're not the average person because, like, they're both extremely rich, but they connect with our generation the way that the boomer, like, Bush and Obama and various others connected with connected with prior generations. It's pretty amazing with the boomer generation. I mean, is it pretty interesting that how people didn't seem to notice that Obama was a boomer? Yeah, I didn't even notice Obama was a boomer. It was when Obama ran for president, everyone was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this young guy! Like, he's young, he's hip, he's cool." I mean, he looked as young or younger. He looked younger than George W. Bush. When Obama was running for president, he was like, what, 45 years old, I think. And the problem is that he didn't look 45. He looked more like maybe 35. Yeah, like when he looked maybe more like 35 or 40 at best, maybe about 35. But he didn't look 45. He looked pretty young. He looked like a pretty young man when he first ran for president. And as a result of that, people didn't see him as he looked more like he looked like a Generation Xer. Obama looked like a Gen Xer. He did. He looked like a Gen Xer, but he's a boomer. But he looked like a Gen Xer, so everyone treated us like, oh, he's cool, man. He's cool, He's totally cool. He's totally cool. We can try. That's exactly because they thought he was like a Gen Xer. He wasn't a Gen Xer, but he was passing himself off as one. All right, he was an opportunist. All right, guys, I'm seeing it so clear right now. I can see things clear as day. All right, I see it clear as day. Let me see it here. Yeah, Tim said Tim is a secret. It says find a up and coming developing country and become an expat. You should. That's no. That's what you need to do. No, I no. Tim is exactly right. Tim is exactly right. All right, you should find a country and go to that country. Because right now things in the U.S. are just the U.S. and these Western countries are just not all that. I'm just being honest with you. It's just not all that right now. Okay, you need to know what you're doing now, guys. Don't forget, we actually have a course called An Expat's Guide to Decentralized Banking and Off the Grid Living. With this course, it's a long awaited course. You're going to learn how to do any and all kinds of banking only using cryptocurrency, no bank account needed, using debit cards and credit cards without having a bank account, powered entirely by crypto, direct deposit to crypto, living off the grid using crypto to cash, quick conversion methods, and vice versa, withdrawing and depositing thousands per day using crypto, sending and receiving money to and from anywhere in the world, and then converting it to cold hard cash immediately. And of course, we have a bonus section, advanced banking without using banks or crypto, secret methods that will change your life. So that's pretty incredible. This course usually goes for $600, but during the weekend sales, you can get it for $199.99. So, I mean, guys, you have to decide what you want for yourself. You decide if you want to stick around when the Great Depression 2 hits, or if you want to ride it out while drinking margaritas on a sunny beach somewhere. yeah. Anyway, let me know what you think about my thoughts. If you agree that Kanye West is going to be the next president after Donald Trump, and if you agree, what I thought about Kim Kardashian's role in the White House, and his adversary, the guy the person who's going to run against him in 2024, it being Mark Zuckerberg. What do you think? What do you think about these predictions? Do you think that I'm right? Do you think that I'm out of my mind? Do you think that I mean, what do you think? Like Mickey called Mark Darth Vader Zuck, Mark Darth Vader Zuck. Oh wait a minute. He says Hillary nor Mark will really go to. Mark will go to jail. Mark will go. Mark. Let me tell y'all something. Mark will go to jail. Mark will go to jail. I don't know. I can feel it in my gut. Mark will go to jail. Mark will go to jail. All right. Don't confuse money with power. This is something that I learned from House of Cards, and it's absolutely true. Never confuse money with power. It's not the same thing. Okay. Mark has money. Mark does not have power. Okay? Let's make that very, very clear. Money can be taken away instantly. Power is not something so easily seized upon. All right? You don't just lose power. It has to be ripped away from you more or less. Money, especially fiat currency, it vanishes in an instant. In an instant it's gone. So don't confuse money and power. In terms of power, Mark Zuckerberg is not a very powerful man. Okay, he really isn't. Okay, money doesn't make him powerful, but that's a story. That's You can think more about that on your own. Love Jesus, get your money. I'll catch you in the next one, and be kind to each other.